It happens to all artists. You sit down to create something and you sit down and you try to create something, and then you are sitting down thinking about creating something, and then thinking about it, and then closing your eyes maybe even, and just visualizing yourself thinking about it, doing it, creating something or whatever. And then when you wake up from the nap that you didn't expect to take, it's been hours and your entire day's gone by. And this is happening day after day after day for weeks, turning into months, and in my case, almost a year, which freaking sucks, man. I'm talking about creative constipation. I'm talking about art block. It's the worst. And I noticed that this was happening especially for me because when I would want to sit down to do a passion project, just something creative for myself, something with paint, something with, ink and paper and pencil, because I missed that so much. Being a tattoo artist, I use my iPad a lot to get my work done because it's more efficient for me, but it was just not quite the same as that nice visceral feeling of touching media and really getting intimate with it. This is getting out of hand. I'm going to just go back there a little bit. I don't know where that came from. Wow. The problem is, when I would sit down to create for my own sake, have fun with it, do something completely different, because I had been in such a groove of just drawing up for appointments on my iPad, drawing up something that somebody has specifically asked for, or drawing several versions of it even. That was definitely a fun challenge for myself to create more than one option of a particular thing. I also felt that it was a more productive thing to do because whatever that client picks, there are alternative versions of that same design that I can then offer up and whatever. It was all very much focused on my work that I do. But unfortunately, I noticed that in certain cases, I was very much like at a sort of plateau in my skills. And I wanted to get back into developing my drawing skills and painting skills and learning more of the fundamental things with art, being a being a self-taught artist. I wanted to do that, but then also just, create something that wasn't for somebody per se. Create something that was just me having fun, me exploring subject matter and stuff like that. So I had neglected that. For way too long. And I've even gotten to a point where I feel like if I even tried to sit down and practice drawing faces, practice portraits, I probably would not be where I used to be a year ago. And that kind of breaks my heart to think about. It really does go to show that just like with working out, with exercise, if you don't maintain some sort of regular practice at it, you do lose those skills. There are some things that you retain, of course, but I think it takes a certain amount of iteration and a certain, I want to say a certain process or a certain routine that can be repeated into a process, if that makes any sense at all. But there's a certain point at which you can not so much practice that thing or whatever over and over and over again, and it's just retained in your memory long term, right? This is just memory 101. This is me not having the discipline to keep drawing and drawing and drawing and learning to draw, say, faces or hands and feet or whatever, all the different possible angles in so many different ways, styles, drawing them and then painting them, and learning all of that by continuously, repetitively practicing. By not doing that, not giving myself a chance to do that, my long-term memory never quite got a hold of that. And so then I have to constantly restart, refresh, go back to the basics and relearn. And would it have been nice for my tattoo requests to be all related to faces or whatever that subject matter is, so that I would then have reason to sit down and practice these things? Sure, but then even if that was the case, I would essentially have a deadline to draw a particular concept for a client. So it's not like I'd be able to just get a bunch of studies done and get a bunch of practice done first and then draw up the thing for the client. At least that's not the time I give myself. depending on when I'm actually booking these appointments, right? Yeah, this has been a very stagnant year for me. I certainly felt very lost as an artist for a while. I still do, because I'm trying to get back into it. And interestingly enough, as frustrated as I've been with this particular struggle that I have, I did feel very excited and inspired to sit down and talk about it and do this instead. So I'm hoping that this is going to help me reinvigorate my creativity. It's a different medium, and I think that might be part of it, kind of refreshing myself with a different medium. I had actually taken up pottery several months back, and that sort of reinvigorated something in me. A passion came back again, and I've been very much in love with it ever since. And so I'm wondering if this was just one other way to help with the creative block, just trying a different medium and allowing it to sort of revive that creator spirit that I had at one point, something that I can do that has nothing to do with drawing. Then that's probably what I need right now, because if I'm used to drawing something digitally on an iPad for somebody, and instead I am filming on camera and editing videos, or I am getting my fingers into some clay and squishing and all that stuff, you know, it's just throwing stuff on a wheel. It's so fun. But they're very different mediums from that, as opposed to what I had struggled with was sitting down in front of my sketchbook to draw, or even just whipping out my iPad, opening up a new canvas and trying to draw, because I think that just kind of, I've already been programmed to look at that as, okay, I'm in work mode now, and it doesn't quite excite me because it's something I do all the time now. So I think it would help generally, if you do feel that you are in art block in some way, regardless of your medium, to just explore a completely different, completely unrelated medium and see how that feels. Because I can assure you that so far I'm feeling like there's something promising here. I might be able to find my way back to getting back into my painting and my drawing again. And I also wanted to see if I could share some of my sketchbook, because I am very much guilty of this very common thing where I start a sketchbook and never quite finish it. And this is actually one of my oldest sketchbooks that I had since before I even started my apprenticeship, now going on, oh my God, it's been officially 7 years now. I had this sketchbook since before 7 years ago and still never finished it. So I'm going to share what I have so far in that book, and I'm going to make a commitment now to frickin' finish it. Do I want to give myself a deadline? Do I work really well with deadlines? I mean, tattooing is a whole other thing, but if I create a deadline for myself personally, can I commit to that? I don't know. But I also want to grow. I want to be a more disciplined person. So I think what I'll do, it kind of feels like I'm halfway through this sketchbook, right? So it's not really the most ambitious goal to maybe attempt to finish this by the end of March. So give myself a month to finish just this one sketchbook, and then try to find another unfinished sketchbook and then finish that one. Maybe. I think I'll try to do that. But this is not going to be, me drawing flash designs. That's painful to even say, because it's kind of like something I feel like I have to do in order to maintain my business as a tattoo artist, is always continuously drawing stuff that can potentially be tattooed. I'm going to do my best not to do that. Like, this really needs to be far enough removed from tattooing for now that I can feel like I'm doing something for myself again, if that makes any sense. So I'm going to do that, and I will start off with this commitment by doing a walkthrough. Anybody who keeps a sketchbook, it's not often just drawings and whatever. We always put notes in there, and I know I put a bunch of really interesting ideas that I wanted to eventually go back to and work on. So we're gonna see if stuff like that revives me. But in the meantime, enjoy the tour. Okay, so here we go. Don't judge the cover. Good vibes only over here. And yes, this is barely hanging on with some tape. That's how old this is. So we start off here. I saved some stickers from some of my mentors and artists that I admire, tattoo artists from the beginning of my journey here. And as you can see, I wanted to draw some horsies. This was back in 2016, several months before I actually started my apprenticeship. So yep, did some horses. I did this. I thought this was cute. It felt very tattooy as well. I think that partly inspired my curiosity into becoming a tattoo artist, but I also have a bunch of sketch ideas, some general ideas, you know, very, very rudimentary stuff. I liked this stripe of color, whatever, you know, all the random cute little things that you can throw in here. So much newsprint stuff. I felt like I was experiencing that sort of blank page syndrome, and I thought that using newsprint, which was such a low quality paper to play around with, and also tracing paper, would be less intimidating to get some drawing started. And I also then felt like all my little doodles were precious, so then I cut them out and I taped them in here. Again, a lot of these were from 2016. I thought this was really cute. This was a potentially cute tattoo idea. I thought this little Frankenstein freak right here is adorable. And then this was a fun exercise that I had done. I had asked my sister, this was back in January, I'd asked my sister to just do a little squiggle, and I think it was just like something like this or this, but she drew a little squiggle and then she handed it to me, and then I created this leech creature, which is really cute actually. This was where I was starting to get a little bit more like, ooh, what if I drew tattoo-y type of stuff? So I did some banners, flowers, whatever, very, very basic stuff, okay? I'd also been doing some pet portraiture for a friend, an old friend. We do not speak anymore, but she had commissioned me to do some pet portraits for some of her clients because she would walk dogs. And so I had saved some of my studies of those pets before I had actually done the portraits of them, you know, and I was trying to draw hands. Look at that thing. Wow. Very hard to believe that a hand could look like that. I don't think I pulled that off very well, as you can see. Drawing should be like your signature. Don't fuss over it. Well, too late, Stephen. Some more messing with studies and trying to learn hands, but no discipline whatsoever. It's not like I did a bunch of hand studies to really get it solid. This I apparently did on election day. After I'd started my apprenticeship, I was trying to get back into feeling more artsy. This was, of course, well into the apprenticeship. I had practiced some watercolor flash painting. I'd saved some notes of concepts. Trying to be creative here, trying to have some fun. This was, I believe I had done this during the workshop when I had decided to become an apprentice. Yeah, it was, they just prompted us. They were like, hey, you draw this, you draw that, you draw that. And I got the prompt to do an octopus. So I had drawn this on the fly, and I was pretty proud of the way that turned out. And then I was really proud of this. I had painted this, I'm not sure what I was thinking, but it was super, super fun. It started off here, and then I had taken it to watercolor paper, and this I just printed out after scanning it. I feel like the original is somewhere, but yes, of course I had to do something Studio Ghibli. I thought this was very cute. And then I did a cyber bulldog for some reason, over top of some random gestures drawings that I wasn't even entirely sure I had succeeded in, but see, more ideas here. This was June. This was from December. See, as you can see, this is chaos. This is normal chaos that happens in an artist's sketchbook. These were I was so proud of. They were so cute. I mean, this was before my apprenticeship too. These were all before my apprenticeship, but I had been playing with watercolor and exploring the use of that. I'd used some Kuretake Zig brush pens or whatever, watercolor. Python I was so proud of because the original reference, they were not none of these things were in the colors. It was like some sort of brown python with a red apple, and I had changed the colors while I was doing that, which I thought I was impressed by it anyway. This was a more tattoo-y style snake, I thought, anyway, when I drew this up. This was a concept that I really love and I want to be able to bring more about, you know, more into reality, is my rose goldfish. So I'm going to bring my rose goldfish into this mix somewhere eventually. Some skull studies, approach to his various different angles of this guy. More skull studies. Really just not having any sort of definitive idea, although I did like the concept of these multi-pupilled eyes, and this was back in 2017. Some figure studies. I'm not even sure where I got this idea from. This was from in June. I used it to censor this. This was before I even realized that this could be called a, you know, penis flytrap. Anyway, and I had drawn this anatomy after doing a bunch of gestural drawing. So the fact that I came up with this in my mind was just reinforcing the fact that when you do iteration after iteration after iteration and you really practice, you can start picking up information without even consciously realizing it. And then before you know it, you're able to draw from your imagination. This was a concept I had wanted to draw first and then paint, and then it just never came to fruition because that happens with most projects. I also had this lovely little lady. Now, this one I developed further. It was a flash piece from Tattoo Artist Fight Club. I can't remember. I think this was Smoke Bunny or something like that. And this was from 2018. I want to say this was long before Ariana Grande was even on my radar. I had put this on here to save that, but I was feeling a little bit more into the pencils at this time. You can't even see this, but this was a attempt at a face for a portrait commission that I had gotten for an old friend's daughter. She had been turning 1. Wow. No, thank you. No, thank you. More ideas. Not even sure what this was supposed to be. I had played with acrylic paint in here, and I don't think it warped the paper too much. But then I was like, what do I even do with this? And then I just started brain dumping. Automatic drawing session. It was fun. Attempting Inktober. This was another Tattoo Fight Club Broken Ocular, which I thought I had pulled off pretty well. Another Fight Club Mushroom Smoke. So I made a bong, as you do. I thought this was cool. I had not finished it, obviously. Most of these things are not finished, really. This one also, another unfinished piece, because I had come up with the concept. I'd sketched it out. I thought, hey, this is really cute. This is really dynamic. And I was very much, you know, remembering Dragon Ball at the time. And I was trying to turn it into something. Sea Dragon Ball Z or something like that. But this was supposed to then become a painting, and then I never followed through on the painting. So another regrettable situation, but hopefully I can come back to it with a fresher eye, with better skills, and pull it off. Some of these areas I never sprayed fixative on, so they're kind of worn. I'm not fully sure on what the concept was in here. I think this had something to do with inner child shadow work type of stuff. I was feeling very spiritual. And these were some potential apprentice tattoos to draw up and tattoo when I was first getting on skin, but they were just a little bit too advanced and a little bit too undeveloped. Don't stop until you're proud. I liked that idea, so I did that to save it somewhere. I was getting better with hands, and I was really trying to practice these freaking snakes, but as you can see, arg, I'm getting frustrated there. Yeah, even here I didn't like this either. Barely a phoenix, obviously. Some more, these were flash designs that I thought were really cute, but nobody ever grabbed these. I think I had drawn these up during quarantine, actually, because I was trying to get some stuff done for when we opened the shop back up again. These were some potential pieces. I know somebody had asked for something along these lines, and I was trying to do a couple different versions. These were actual commission pieces. Some of them ended up happening and then some of them didn't. Although I don't think this one happened either, but the boxing gloves was definitely something I did a few times because I was kickboxing at the time. And so I had some nice supportive people from kickboxing that came to get tattooed, but I thought this was cute. And again, never actually got to do it. Drawing noses for some reason, because why not? I had recently seen this one healed after the first time I had done this many years ago, so it's fun to see that this was something I had drawn up, and the tattoo was for August in 2020, not long after we opened back up. And so I got a chance to see this client legit 4 years later, and seeing how it healed pretty well for one of my first tattoos. Officially finishing up on my apprenticeship at that point. I'd also drawn some really cute little things. I'm hoping to maybe do something with these two at some point. I wanted to do something music themed, never really fleshed that out. Unilomes, of course. This was for a long time friend of ours since literally we moved into the area since we were children, and she wanted to get her first tattoo from me, and so we had a nice lovely stitch tattoo. I had done all the steps, and this was before I had an iPad, so I had drawn this from hand. And then I hard lined it the traditional sort of way, making copies of the penned drawing and then coloring it in and stuff. Like, I did all of that. I actually do miss that process. It really does create an intimacy with the work that you do. Had a few possible attempts at stitch, but we ended up finalizing on this, which was way cuter. This was me attempting to get into some horror, some creepy, cute but horrifying sort of concept. I do want to bring this back in though, because I've been really enjoying doing more morbid things just to change the pace a little bit. Axolotl brain was a Fight Club thing that I had attempted. This was another shadow self monkey mind sort of thing. I had attempted, I don't know if you can see that, but I had attempted a different version of the cat, making it more of like I want to say Capricorn cat? I'm not sure. This one I had actually seen to completion. I had sketched this out. I thought it was really cool, and then I finished it digitally. And it turned into like a nice grapey purple lollipop thing, really trippy colors in the hat there, and I called it Purple Haze. But also getting that effect of how the candy looked was really, I don't know why. I like putting things on sticks for some reason. Random botanicals. Not sure what the plan was here, but more botanicals, because I think at this point I was feeling like there was a pressure. Like, if I wanted to be a successful artist, I had to do a lot of botanicals. Trying to do more natural stuff. Pangolins are one of my favorite animals. My top favorite animal, actually. Exotic animal. So I had drawn a couple versions of that to see if I can do something with it. I liked this too, and I think I might bring some of these back and just attempt them again. Niffler, if you know, you know. This is a seashell. I liked doing seashells, and I like trying to add bling, so I had attempted to do some pearls on that one. And then again, my shadow self, my little chaotic monkey shadow self. Trying to do some horror winter Christmas stuff, and then trying to learn facial structure from a class, and then never finishing it because I got bored. Random doodles. Attempting some cute flash, but again I got bored. I wanted to do a pine cone study. I thought this was pretty decent. I mean, it does read like a pine cone, I should hope, but just trying to do that with only a pen and not like making every mark count, which I thought was a good challenge. And then wanted to just do some lemons and play with color and trying to get more like impactful color theory. I think these still ended up a little flat because I only played with like 1 or 2 colors, and they were very analogous, and so that doesn't give you very much contrast. I was very happy with these, and I wanted to save them somewhere. I still have them as flash, but strawberries, and then I just hardlined them in my iPad, attempting to do some Gaza, Palestine themed designs. Watermelon. I had done a few different versions of this. This was actually a tattoo I'd recently done. I was trying to get away from my iPad for a bit, and I hand drew several of these versions of dogwood flowers. And then when I circled in to one that I particularly thought was nice in terms of composition and stuff for the placement, I had then, you know, kind of gone back to my apprentice days and just did some tracing paper, penciled over that, and sent that to the client. And then of course I also did the same here with roses, just doing a bunch of versions of it, hard lining them. But this was again an idea for a client, and then I had just drawn a bunch of them, which was really fun for me, just giving myself a chance to do a bunch of different versions of things, and drawing them over and over and over again, and trying to study them from different angles, and trying different styles at it. This really was, for me, it was a pretty successful one, just like this, where I got to kind of see how compositions worked and stuff. So I am finding that I do work better when I'm experimental, and I give myself a chance to do multiples of a certain type of thing. It does make me feel a little bit better. Like I'm developing my skills while also getting work done. I was trying to do some more understanding. I was doing some domestica courses here, just learning more about anatomy, particularly the extremities, but was starting off with the spine and you know, the torso area too. I was trying to get back into just drawing some flash from by hand again. Wanted to do some, you know, flash. These two I developed further and made them available, but this was just some carnivorous plants that I hadn't fully fleshed out yet. And then I was just playing with color and trying to work with my limited resources in here. If this had like a cohesive theme, if say I was taking like the same ingredients of a particular you know, food, like if I wanted to do an Arnold Palmer and I wanted tea leaves and lemons and, you know, that sort of thing in one thing, then it's more cohesive and it makes more sense. But this was just kind of random stuff. Like, I'm not sure what pears, strawberries, and cloves together would do, if that exists. And I feel like these might be mint leaves as well, so I'm not sure. But there was no direction here. It was really just playing around and trying to draw in such a way. And I think I did this over some pencil doodles, like warm-up markings and stuff, so it adds a little texture. But this was not with any particular direction, just trying to draw from my mind the different types of, you know, versions of each of these fruits, some cut, some not, some angled, and blah blah blah. But it was still fun. I mean, playing with color was nice. These I was trying to get more like sort of Valentine's-y flash, and you know, some cute things, some silly things, and didn't really fully flesh it out. This looks super cute though. I would love to tattoo this. I also wanted to do something winter themed, and so I was exploring snowflakes, but there was something kind of boring about this sort of symmetrical, repetitive pattern. I'm trying to embrace things like this because obviously clients want what they want, but even just doing this self-prompted, I was struggling. But I was also just trying to get into more pattern making and pattern designing, and I just have a hard time with that for some reason. Cat vomit, so ignore that. And I didn't realize this page was actually upside down when I had drawn this. I'd done some owls over here, but then I was like, hey, this is a blank page, I should fill it up. And so I actually really liked this design, but because my cat had an accident there, I couldn't really, you know, I had to wait for that to dry. Now it just looks gross. In fact, it kind of looks like a creature, so I might draw over that, whatever it is that I see there. But yeah, owls. And I think that's pretty much it. So the rest of this is what I've got left in terms of pages to fill. Uh-oh. Okay, so now we know where I'm at. I still think I can do it. I just want to see if I can maybe give myself some direction here to fill up the rest of those pages. But yeah, chaotic and very much in development since what, 2016? I'm always open to ideas. Obviously, I have plenty in there that I will go back and look at a little bit more and see if anything, you know, sparks the creativity. But any ideas, drop them in the comments. I'm totally down to, you know, try most things. At this point, because of my career, I have definitely gotten used to being prompted with ideas as opposed to coming up with them myself. Even though I do get the occasional really like fun spark of inspiration. As you can tell, my follow-through needs a little work. That's going to be all for today. Yeah, I'm going to just keep you posted on how the sketchbook goes. See y'all later.